developing other breeds, even train them to hunt and those things like that. All right, somebody else, their SAE. Who we still got? Jordan?
My SAE is beef cattle production. I own 4 or 5 cows there at the house and manage those, and I also work on Tom Gallhofer's farm during the summertime.
Okay. Jordan mentioning working on a farm, and I think that's everybody in terms of what their SAE is. I believe everybody shared that. Last night was the FFA alumni labor and dessert auction, where about half of these folks that sit here with me were auctioned off their labor. I think 4 of the 6 did auction off their labor last night. Some of them went to farms to work. How many of you, has anyone talked to the purchaser of your labor and what you're going to do to fulfill your agreement? No? All right, Irvin, go ahead.
Well, I talked to my buyer last night, and they informed me that I would be fixing a lot of fence.
Oh, good. If I'd known you was a fence fixer, I might have bid on you myself. But you
no.
you don't enjoy fixing fence?
It's okay.
Yeah, it's one of those tasks that seems like it has no value, but it's got to be done because you got to keep them in the confines of your property, no doubt about it. All right, anybody else any comments about last night? All right, Leighton does.
I talked to my buyer, and he informed me that I will be cleaning out septic tanks. So I don't think that's going to be too much fun.
It doesn't sound like it, does it?
Nope.
But, maybe it's training of what you want to why you want to make sure that you have a good education so you don't wind up in that particular profession on permanent basis. Yeah, he's agreeing on that. I had another thought that went through my head, and it's already gone, but that's kind of typical of me. All right. What are your future plans? Let's talk about that a little bit. Future plans. Whoever wants to start. I know we've got first-year students. We've got folks that are nearing the end of their high school FFA career, which brings me kind of to another point that I really had not had on my list of things to mention. That is the fact that students can continue their FFA membership through the 3rd National Convention following their graduation or until they're 21, if I remember the guidelines correctly. I don't think those have changed. So even though, like Jordan's about to graduate, Dylan, you're going to graduate, right? Next year. Okay, you're 11th grade. I apologize for that. That membership can continue as students work towards additional awards after high school even. Oh, I hate to digress back, but I have to. Are any of you aware how successful the labor and pie auction or dessert auction was last night from a financial standpoint? Well, the labor that the students auctioned themselves off for totaled right around $4,000, and the desserts sold for about $2,400. So it was a $6,400 night, something in that neighborhood. That's not exact, that's not official, but we know it's pretty doggone close to what the total was last night. All right, I'm going to change veins just a little bit and ask you, why did you decide to enroll in ag education? Why did you enroll in ag ed, and then why did you become an FFA member? Who'd like to start with that? Leighton again. Leighton, good. We need somebody to step up and break the ice. And
I joined ag ed because I would like to learn some new stuff like welding and fixing, mechanicking on other vehicles and tractors.
Okay. Anybody else? Kennedy?
I joined FFA and ag because my dad and my brother were both ag teachers, so I'm pretty familiar, went to a lot of FFA events before, and it sounded like a lot of fun, so definitely it was something that I was looking forward to going into high school.
Very good. Anybody else? Irvin?
Yeah, well, so I'm kind of in the same boat with Kennedy. My mom is one of the FFA advisors, excuse me. So I was always at a lot of FFA meetings and events, and and I've been raised on a farm all my life, so it was just kind of just expected of me to go into ag ed.
Kind of a natural
Yeah.
type of process and procedure. All right, somebody else. Jordan?
I joined ag ed as a freshman, and I liked it a lot. The reason I did join it was because I always enjoyed shop classes like metal shop, wood shop, all those way better than I ever enjoyed any other classes I could take at high school.
Okay. Faith, you're the only one left to comment about.
I joined ag because, well, I live on a farm, so
Again, it just seemed natural.
yeah, it kind of seemed natural for me to join, and I like to learn new things about stuff like that. And
Now, Faith also, I think, had another bit of influence, because I think you're all 6 of these have, students that are here with me, have ag education in their genetics, FFA in their genetics. You say, what do you mean by that? Well, Kennedy alluded to it. Her dad and brother are both, dad was an ag teacher and brother was an ag teacher. They're both still involved in agriculture in some way or administration. Everybody else here, one of their family members, most cases it was dad, I guess, yeah, in 3 of the other ones. Dad was an ag and FFA, and then Faith, the reason I say she's unique, her mom and dad both were ag education and FFA students in high school. So did you get any pressure from home that you need to do this, Faith?
not really. It was kind of my decision if I wanted to take it or not. But I decided to take it because, you know, it was kind of a push for myself to have this opportunity.
Good. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention to anyone that might be listening out there, if you have, say, an 8th grader, or 7th grader even, that might have, that you'd like to see involved in ag education FFA, it's got to be their decision if they're going to be successful out. And these 2 or 3 of the heads around me, they're going up and down like that. Irvin, did Mom make you take ag?
No, she didn't, but it was definitely expected, and it, you know.
Was it a mistake?
No.
Okay. I knew it wasn't. That's the reason I hit him with that question. So, but it's good to have conversations about the future, and that's what the next question I'm going to address to these guys is, what's your future plans? Now, I realize as a first-year student, you may or may not be planning much for after high school. I'm sure Jordan's got some plans for after high school. He better have at this point in his senior year. And Dylan probably is, at this point in his junior year, should probably have some plans for after high school. So whoever would like to start first, do you have plans for after high school? Jordan got the microphone shoved to him.
All right,
Thank
I'll
you,
go
Leighton.
first. After high school, I plan on graduating and going to OTC in Springfield. And I'm sure if I want to do a steer or anything like that, that I'll probably still stay enrolled in FFA.
And that, again, goes back to what I mentioned earlier about being able to continue membership in FFA after graduation. So you know what area you're probably going to major in at OTC? Or
It's definitely going to be agriculture based,
Something
either
ag-
ag business or something like that.
business aspect. Okay, somebody else. Dylan.
What I'd like to do after school is go somewhere and get a degree in heavy equipment operation and do that for a while and then come back to Salem and start up a farm, hopefully.
Okay. State Tech at Lynn has a good heavy equipment program, and it's a good place to look. There are other opportunities to do that, but that's one that's at least fairly close to home, and it's kind of out in the country setting, and there's just a lot. Have you been up to State
I
Tech?
have not.
You get an opportunity. I would definitely advise you to do that. Someone else with some of their and you guys that are first-year students, if you'd rather address it from the standpoint of some goals that you've got yet in ag education and FFA. What are some of your goals? It might be easier to look at the next 2 years rather than after high school. So who wants to go next on that?
I'll
Kennedy?
go. I really like to become an officer. because I think that'd just be really cool. And I feel like public speaking and doing all kinds of stuff like that comes with being an officer and stuff is going to be really useful in the future for whatever I decide to look into. So
Anything?
that.
I'm sorry.
That's
I
fine.
apologize for interrupting. Anything you can do to improve, advance, whatever term you want to use on it, your communication skills is going to be of ultimate value in whatever profession you enter into. That's one of the reasons that we like to do, I know your teachers, Ms. Johnson, Mr. Howard, our faculty and staff here at KSMO, we like to do this because it does help contribute to your public speaking skills. You may not see it, but I know I had one first-year student that I happened to talk to yesterday that's really not very excited about being here. And I said, it won't be as difficult as you might think because I'm going to ask you questions. And I think if I ask you guys, was this as difficult as you thought it'd be, you'd probably say, no, their heads, in fact, are going sideways, shaking. No, really not as bad as, and you haven't had to talk as much as you thought you might have to either. Now, if there had only been 2 or 3 of you, that would have been a little bit different situation. We're getting close to the end of this segment. I've asked Kennedy if she would share with our listeners who some of the folks are that have made this time on KSMO possible. I don't recall for sure how many sponsors we have, but I think it's something in the neighborhood of 40 sponsors of this day on KSMO, and we do sincerely appreciate the support that Salem community gives Salem FFA chapter. It's evident in this list of advertisers. It was evident last night at the FFA alumni scholarship auction with those dollar figures I shared with you. I think it becomes very, very evident that the community of Salem really supports FFA. Kennedy, if you would, share with our listeners who some of our sponsors are.
Dent County Farm Supply, Salem Memorial District Hospital, Interstate Regional Stockyards, Mid-Ozark Animal Health Center, Fidelity Communications, Intercounty Electric Cooperative, Your Community Health Center, MFA Agri Services, and Farm Bureau Insurance, Willie Strader.
All right, and we do sincerely thank those sponsors again. I thank Dylan, Kennedy, Irvin, Faith, Jordan, and Layton for taking time out of their, I know they didn't really want to miss this hour of class at school on Friday, the second day back from this weather and the vacation they had for the President's Day break. So anyway, I thank you all for putting up with this old man, and we'll turn the mic back over to Stan. Stan, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Bob. Thanks, guys. At KSMO Radio 1340, you have a lot more on the FFA Day plate to come your way this afternoon and this morning. So we invite you to keep it right here on KSMO Radio 1340. We'll take a break, have a little bit of music, come back with some news from the Associated Press, and also some statewide news in Missouri Net before our next group right here on KSMO Radio. Thank you for joining us on your information station, KSMO Salem.
There's a place for do-it-yourself.